Hello everybody and everybody else. My name is ScrypKat and this is ScrypKat Says. On this channel we take a look at First Amendment auditors, sovereign citizens, cop watchers, cop baiters, and Karens from a slightly different angle. If you're new here, welcome. If you've been here before, welcome back. I read every comment I receive and appreciate every one of them. You all have given me many great ideas. Keep your eye on the channel. You might see one of your suggestions come to life. Today we're going to look at the phenomenon of the narcissist. Almost all of the people we love to hate have this character flaw. There are those who take advantage of vulnerable individuals, including children, those who play the victim, and those who truly believe everyone around them is inferior in all things. I am availing myself of videos by Dr. Todd Grande, who has done several on this very topic. I am indebted to him for his work. Links to his channel are in the description. Let's take a look first off at Tim Riley, aka Tyrant Slayer Studios. He is convinced that every police department in Connecticut is corrupt and goes out of his way to try to prove it. Not only that, but he is on a mission to have several judges, mostly those involved with family court, fired from their positions. At the base of his complaint is his relationship with a woman with whom he had a daughter. They were not married at the time, although he refers to her as my ex whenever he speaks of her. The family court gave custody of his daughter to the mother. Mr. Riley contends that his daughter is being neglected and abused. However, he has not seen his daughter since October of 2020 and has not spoken to her since August of 2021. According to the record of his ex-girlfriend's current boyfriend, he, the boyfriend, was stopped by the police and illicit drugs were found on his person and in his car. Mr. Riley accuses his ex-girlfriend of being a heroin addict. Personally, I have seen no evidence of this addiction. Not to say it isn't true. However, he has not produced any evidence. Where he comes into our purview is through his repeated attempts to have local police perform welfare checks concerning his daughter, his attempts to gain access to personnel files and police reports that have nothing to do with him, his repeated attempts to gain access to federal buildings and courthouses while filming, and his utmost contempt for just about anyone in authority. To be fair, I can understand how a parent might be driven to excess when it comes to the welfare of a child. However, to solicit other people's complaints and act as some sort of bulldog on their behalf, on YouTube of all places, is in my opinion the worst way to handle this situation.
I wanted to give you an update. I've been super stressed out. I needed to take a break. I've taken out the 4 boys. We've gone camping all week. We've gotten away from the state and all of its manufactured hysteria and crisis. My family court case is in dire straits. I am going to be suing. I am going to be going up to federal court with all of that. I'm going up to the state appellate court. In fact, we're going to try to set precedents and some case law between the two of us. So I've already called the Connecticut District Attorney's Office. I've already called Department of Justice.
One of the characteristics of narcissism is presenting oneself as greater, more important, and just plain better than other people. Narcissists rarely give ground on this grandiose sense of self-importance in any area, but they are particularly sensitive to the areas of intelligence and outward appearance. These are 2 areas where they rarely concede that other people may have an advantage over them. The narcissist supports a position even though the evidence is against it. This is a fairly common tactic. Narcissists tend to overcommit to ideas that protect their ego. So really, narcissism doesn't necessarily have a relationship to openness to experience. A narcissist can be high in this trait. They can appreciate the arts, they may be intellectually curious, they can certainly have a lot of fantasy, but they still have a blind spot when it comes to their own value and importance. A grandiose narcissist tends to be rigid in terms of their thinking in this area. Now, a vulnerable narcissist does tend to process criticisms, and they feel shame and resentment, but they still often defend a bad position either way. So the narcissist will find information, maybe even from a scholarly article, that supports their position. Perhaps it supports an idea that they've been in favor of a long time. They go out and they find information that supports their commitment to this modality. This is called confirmation bias.
And he was very intrigued, we'll say. His interest was piqued in regard to my family court case and some of the things that have happened, and he's given me an opportunity on his platform to explain to his viewers, which, by the way, this is the great Johnny Flynn's channel. As you can see, he's only got 668 subscribers, but that's because he had just recently lost his YouTube channel. This has all always been about my daughter, this particular focus on my channel, this courthouse, this family court case, most of the police activity that's documented here on my channel has, in one way or another, a lot to do with what I'm facing every day in regard to my daughter, who's being neglected and abused. And the state's aware of it and seems to enjoy facilitating it and torturing me here.
Notice how he speaks about his daughter, but the state is the one who is torturing him, not her, not her benefit, not her welfare, but the state is torturing him. His focus is almost always about the state being against him.
Hey, it's Johnny Flynn. He has a 13-year-old daughter. I'm going to let him correct whatever statement I'm about to make. He has a daughter. Right. She's 13. And she's terrified about living with the mother. Now, the father, who's here on the phone, lost custody to the lady, who they were never married, is my understanding. Now, I'm finding out more and more cases where judges violate thus pro se litigators, self-litigated person's rights under the Constitution. The mom he has mentioned is a heroin addict. Okay? Take it or leave it.
Since this guy is great, guys, pay attention to what he says. Please listen closely to what he says, especially if you're one of my favorite trolls. I think this is going to be very informative and enlightening to everyone, even my toughest of critics.
I explained about my kids to him. He explained about his kids to me.
Someone doesn't have to be a narcissist to do this, but the narcissist takes it one step further. When they clearly see evidence that refutes their theory, they know that their theory is now unsupported, but they don't want to make it appear like they committed to an idea that wasn't correct. For them, if they change their mind, they believe that's going to be viewed as a weakness. They're going to look less intelligent because they committed to an idea that was later found to not be correct, even though changing one's mind in the presence of new evidence is actually a sign of intelligence. It's flexible thinking.
One of the things we don't know about this case is who the mother of the 4 boys is. I would find that very interesting.
It became very clear to me throughout a number of proceedings that the state of Connecticut doesn't care about the health and safety, physical or mental, of any child, specifically my child, and is only about the money. This is all about job security and money for the corrupt Connecticut family court system and the corrupt state of Connecticut. Right now, my 12-year-old daughter, going on 13, is in a home which houses drug dealers. The mother is soliciting sex for money and heroin and fentanyl. Her boyfriend deals heroin and fentanyl. He called me and told me he got arrested.
Who called him, he doesn't say.
Dealing heroin for the mother of my child. Right? I've got body cam footage of domestic violence occurring in that house between my ex and my daughter. And when I show, and the police totally failed to properly investigate anything. I mean, when there's broken glass in a house, that's usually evidence of violence, you know, broken pictures and frames and things like that. No investigation into anything. You know, even the police here have failed miserably. So,
If you have this information, please do show it to us. I'm sure all of us would be very interested in it.
Lots going on with the Connecticut family court case. It is totally corrupt, but I'm not going to leave. I'm going to fight. I'm going to stay here and I'm going to clean it up. Whether I have to become constitutional sheriff and run a big campaign and go broke trying to change the world out here in Connecticut or not, that's what I'm going to do.
When the narcissist is unable to win on the basis of evidence, they switch to other tactics, attacking people who have different views than them instead of arguing based on actual evidence. Let's say the narcissist knows that they can't win a particular argument. They will attack the people who support the opposite position. And this is simply for the purpose of the narcissist not having to admit that their position is unsupported.
The reason why I've been missing for a week, by the way, I was in YouTube jail. You know, the censorship is real. This channel's been hit pretty hard since November of last year. And there's been, you know, a good 9 or 10 weeks time I haven't even been able to publish or make a community post in this year alone. It's very disruptive. Oh yeah, the censorship. I was gone for a week. I couldn't post for a week. Couldn't publish for a week. I shared a video about the gentleman protesting at the Board of Ed here in the state of Connecticut. I'm going to edit what I believe YouTube is considering medical misinformation, but I can assure you that whatever the algorithm is claiming medical misinformation is has not been reviewed by a human being. Being forthcoming and honest with information that's not popular, even if it's correct, even if it's good, valid information, it's very unpopular. And the algorithm is like, you know, socially engineering what is allowed to be published these days. And so I'm back from the virtual prisons that confine our speech. Yeah, let's comment on Schrodinger's cat. You know, but the problem that you're having is you haven't done the research on copyright law like I have. You don't have copyrighted content of your own. What this man did is unacceptable on a moral level, on an ethical level. And aside from that, is known as what's called willful criminal copyright infringement.
So sometimes even the narcissist can't deny they have backed a poor position. They have made a mistake. And instead of owning that, instead of learning from that, they blame someone else. And they believe this makes them look more intelligent, when of course it really doesn't. So they might say something like, I was given misinformation, or that person who gave me this information was trying to make me look bad, or something like, there was a conspiracy to make me look foolish. This is simply using words like logic and reason. Like simply saying those words makes their argument better, right? It sounds good, but it really doesn't help somebody's argument. So if a narcissist is arguing, they might say, look, I'm just attempting to be logical. Let's just be reasonable. I'm the voice of reason, or I only make logical decisions. Again, they're just saying these things. They're just saying essentially, I'm right. They're not really backing it up with any evidence. But by including the words logic and reason, they're trying to get the high ground in the argument. Just saying those words, of course, is not enough to establish an argument, right? To use logic and reason, you have to do more than saying, hey, I'm using logic and reason. This is when the narcissist discounts constructs that are connected with intelligence. And these are constructs the narcissist doesn't have. There are a lot of different ideas connected with intelligence, and that's what I'm really talking about here. For example, if the narcissist is not successful, and they see another person who is successful, and of course we know success is associated with intelligence, the narcissist will say, success is just a matter of luck. So they'll discount that another person is successful, discounting the actual level of intelligence and trying to find some flaw associated with it, right? Just to get it out of the picture. They don't want to face the fact that some people are highly intelligent, and what really bothers them is that some people are more intelligent than them. So the narcissist really pretends to know everything. There's no subject they haven't studied. They will not be outdone. You rarely have to wait for an answer, but it's always the wrong answer, right? So if you're going to get the wrong answer, you might as well get it quickly. If they take the time to do their homework, to look into something, that's admitting they don't know everything, and that's not acceptable to the narcissist. Again, with many of these items, we can look at them and see that they're not really going to work for the narcissist. The narcissist believes in those strategies, but they might not actually pay off. When encountering a narcissist and dealing with these types of situations, sometimes it's better just to disengage.
As we have seen in our own little corner of YouTube, this disengagement is incredibly difficult. Standing back, standing down is not natural. Human nature dictates that we strike back when stricken. It takes a great deal of patience and fortitude to simply disengage.
Right? Like in terms of arguing and talking about their IQ and all this, a lot of the times it just makes more sense to move away from the situation and kind of let them do what they're going to do. Narcissists will go to great lengths to ensure that they protect that ego, and that can be hazardous for people around them.
What dangers are we talking about here? In this specific case, the danger may very well be that Mr. Riley's online activities, especially associated as he is with far-right politics, liberty rallies, and the like, could jeopardize any chances he has of regaining custody of his daughter. The fact that a person antagonizes the very people who are in the position to grant him what he wants is a tricky thing to do. It might be fun to sit back and watch people like this implode, but the human toll has got to be incredible. If the situation with his daughter exists the way he says it does, I would be the first to support his efforts. But as with so many of these cases, we're only given a peek into the real facts. We have only his word for it that any abuse or neglect is transpiring. We know nothing about his daughter's schoolwork, her social contacts, or her emotional health. All we do know is that Mr. Riley wants what he wants when he wants it, and no one is going to get in his way. Tenacity is one thing. Trampling on other people to get it is another. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank each and every one of my 505 subscribers as of January 26, 2022. I can't tell you how much it means to me that you found your way to my channel and decided you liked what you saw. I also owe a great big debt to any other creators who shared my videos and suggested my videos to others. Unclean Hands, Vilified Freedom, Anthony Vasquez, and Tones Thinks It. I'm looking at you even though I can't pronounce your name. Under the circumstances of our recent loss, I felt it would not be proper to host a celebration, so I will hold off on that until I reach another milestone on YouTube. Thank you for understanding. My heartfelt sympathies go out to Nicole and Winston Overby, as well as Clifford Reynolds and Tina, a Marvel girl. My heart truly breaks for you. Join us next week when we once again delve into the wild, wild world of sovereign citizens, First Amendment auditors, and cop watchers. Remember, ScrypKat says, life is too short to remain angry. Bye for now.